Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Pharmacypedia. In the previous session we discussed about the disintegration test. So in continuation to our tablet series, in this session we are going to discuss about the dissolution test. Dissolution test again is a very important criteria for the evaluation of the tablets. So in this diagram, you can understand when we take any tablet or capsules, it first disintegrates into granules or aggregates. These granules and aggregates further decompose into finer particles. So ultimately we have the fine particles. Now these fine particles, once the disintegration is complete, undergoes the process of dissolution. So what is the dissolution? Dissolution is basically the presence of the drug in the solution. So when the from the finer particles, when the drug substance actually reaches into the solution form, the dissolution process takes place. So again, from once it reaches to the solution form, then only the process of absorption takes place. So after absorption, the drug reaches the blood and other fluid tissues. So the process is very simple. Both the disintegration and dissolution process are critical for the absorption of the drugs. In the process of disintegration, the breakdown process takes place. But in the dissolution process, once it has been broken down, it reaches into the solution form, which needs to be absorbed in vivo and reach to the systemic circulation. So when we talk about the dissolution test, let us first try to understand what is the purpose of conducting the dissolution test. Basically, as I have discussed in the disintegration test also, we are mimicking the whatever is going inside our body system, how the tablet actually goes and suffers in the body system. In the same way, we are trying to conduct the test that would let us know how much amount of the drug actually reaches the systemic circulation in what way. For example, if we take any tablet, how much percentage of the drug actually goes inside the systemic circulation, and how does the therapeutic, in how much time frame the therapeutic effect takes place. For example, this test basically measures the amount of the time which is required for a given percentage of the drug substance in a tablet to go into the solution under a specified set of the conditions. Now, it is intended to provide a step towards the evaluation of the physiological availability of the drug substance. So, when we take any drug substance, whatever is the calculated amount of the active therapeutic ingredient which we have added into the tablet, for example, 100 mg or 50 mg or 250 mg. So, in how much time frame? The first 5% goes into the solution, then next 10%, then next 10%, and in what time frame? In the first 15 minutes, how much drug is absorbed? In 30 minutes, how much drug is absorbed? Or like in next 1 hour and subsequent hours, how much drug is being absorbed? That is being calculated through the dissolution test. So you need to understand that 2 points are very important: the amount of the drug substance and the time frame in which it is being absorbed. So these two parameters are known once we conduct a dissolution test. Now again, as there are different kinds of the tablets, for example, the conventional dosage forms, immediate release dosage forms, prolonged release dosage form, delayed action tablet forms, and modified release dosage form. So for each sort of the different types of the tablets, basically the limits set for the evaluation of dissolution test are different. So when we try to understand the dissolution test, as per Indian Pharmacopoeia, there are two methods which are being used. The first is the paddle method and second is the basket method. So the rotating paddle method is generally more discriminatory than the basket method. As when we talk in terms of the British Pharmacopoeia, basically three sets of the apparatus are being used. The first is the rotating basket, second is the rotating paddle, and third is the flow through cell. Now each of them are being used for the different kinds of the dosage forms. Enteric coated products, modified release dosage forms, they are exceptional dosage forms, so they need to be tested in different ways. So the specified set of the condition basically varies for the different types of the drugs, and the limit sets are also different as per different pharmacopoeia. When we try to understand the dissolution and the apparatus from the United States Pharmacopoeia, we find that there are basically 7 sets of the equipment, 7 sets of the apparatus which are being used and recommended by the USP. We shall be discussing them one by one. So when we talk about the dissolution test, two three things again are very important, as I have told in the disintegration test also. What are the temperature conditions to be maintained, what is the medium to be taken, and what kind of the drug substance, for how much time frame you have to do the sampling. So you can see this is the apparatus whereby you have basically six units, whereby you can add six tablets in each vessels at a time at frequent intervals of the time as specified. For example, 30 minutes, 1 hour, you need to take out the aliquot. Aliquot is the sample which is you take out to assess the amount of the drug permeated, amount of the drug being in solution after that specified period of the time. For example, after 30 minutes you take a sample and you try to calculate out the drug content in the solution through UV or through HPLC, and you find out that 30% of the drug is being released. So you know that in first 30 minutes 30% of the drug is released. Then after 1 hour you take the sample again, try to assess. So till you get the 100%, you know that in this time frame my drug will be reaching the systemic circulation. So generally they are being performed at 37 degrees Celsius. So the samples are removed from the dissolution chamber at periodic intervals and analyzed for their drug content analysis using the spectrophotometer or HPLC. So the dissolution medium for each drug is available on the individual monograph. Now each drug substance have their specific monographs. We need to refer the specific monograph for getting the details about the media, about the temperature conditions and other specified things. Whether surfactants have to be added or not. In some case dosage form we need to add the surfactants. For basic drugs, acidic media are used, and for alkaline drugs, acidic drugs are for acidic drugs alkaline medias are being used. So it is vice versa. For drugs which are having the non-ionizing molecules, water is recommended. So for tablet dosage forms, design purposes and for the critical product comparisons, the time required for substantially 80 to 90% of the drug amount to be released is to be calculated. So in general, the results of the dissolution test are expressed as the time required to, it is very important, time required to release the percentage of the labeled amount of the drug from the dosage form. For example, in 1 hour, how much amount of the drug is being released. In next 2 hours, how much amount of the drug is being released, and how much time it takes for the 90% of the drugs to go into the solution form. So when we talk about the in vitro characteristics of the dissolution test, it may sometimes not perfectly correlate with the in vivo bioavailability. So the concept of the dissolution efficiency proposed by the Kahn and Rhodes could be employed to assess the most probable in vivo performance. So actually the dissolution test is not designated to measure the efficacy or safety of the tablet being tested. Both the effectiveness and the safety of a specific dosage form must be demonstrated initially by means of appropriate in vivo studies and clinical evaluation. So this is the apparatus which is being used. We take the dissolution test apparatus. You can see there is the sampling point. You can see the vessel shape, it is hemisphere shapes. Then the paddle which is being connected. In case of the paddle, you can also use basket. In Indian pharmacopoeia, two apparatus are being used. First is the paddle, second is the basket. It is reversed for other like USP and BP. In BP, basket comes first as a apparatus 1, and for apparatus 2 it is the paddle, and BP actually identifies and recommend 3 types of the cells. Third is the flow through cell, and USP identifies 7 types of the different apparatus which are used for in vitro analysis of the tablets. So unless and until it is specified in as per Indian pharmacopoeia, we need to use the apparatus 1, which is the paddle apparatus, and the medium is should be buffered solution, and the solution has to be adjusted so its pH is within the 0.05 units of the pH specified in the monograph. So the whether it is simulated gastric fluid, simulated intestinal fluid, it has to be seen and checked from the pharmacopoeia official monographs. So as far as the time is concerned, time depends on what kind of the dosage form it is. It is immediate release dosage forms or conventional dosage forms or prolonged release dosage forms, modified release dosage forms. So depending on the type of the formulation, depending on the type of the tablet, basically from the official compendia, you need to refer and check for the method. If if you see the arrangement of the dissolution apparatus within the time interval specified or at each of the times stated, sample has to be withdrawn from the midway between the surface of the dissolution medium and the top of the rotating either basket or blade, and not less than 10 mm from the wall of the vessels. So actually it has to be taken from the middle point, and except in the case of the single sampling, add a volume of the dissolution medium equal to the volume of the sample withdrawn. So for example, if you have taken out 2 ml of the buffer media, then you need to replace that 2 ml with the plain buffer media, so that the total amount does not go concentrated. The amount of 900 ml remains the same. So when you take the 900 ml, it has to be 900 ml throughout the time of the conduction of the study. Need to perform the dissolution method as specified and as guided in the official monograph of each of the tablet. So this is the dissolution apparatus which are being recommended to use as test dosage forms in United States Pharmacopoeia, USP. You can see USP apparatus one as a basket apparatus with the rotation speed of 50 to 120 rpm, paddle apparatus 25 to 50 rpm. One thing you have to note that in the paddle we use the lower revolutions per minute as compared to the basket. Then third is the reciprocating cylinder. Fourth is the flow through cell. Fifth is the paddle over disc. Sixth is the cylinder apparatus. Seventh is the reciprocating disc. So in all of them, these are the recommended dissolution apparatus which are to be used depending on the type of the dosage form. For example, paddle over disc apparatus 5 is used for the evaluation of transdermal dosage form. Similarly, apparatus 6 cylinder dosage form is recommended to be used for the transdermal dosage forms, and apparatus 7 is specifically to be used for the extended release dosage form. Extended release dosage form means whereby the tablet is used for the prolonged period of the time which is having the action is prolonged. So in that case you need to have a different sort of the arrangement. So you can see for the immediate release dosage forms, 3 apparatus have been suggested. First is the basket apparatus, second is the paddle apparatus, and third is the reciprocating cylinder. So out of 3 of them, mostly basket or paddle apparatus is being used. Now for checking what is being preferred, you need to refer to the official compendium, official monograph of the tablet. Now, before understanding the interpretation of the dissolution testing as per Indian pharmacopoeia, we need to first understand about the Q. Q is the term which is actually the amount of the dissolved active ingredient. Q is the labeled content of the drug. Q is the dissolved active ingredient specified in the individual monograph. For example, if an individual monograph specifies the drug to be 100%, so the test has to be interpreted in 3 layers. So at 3, or you can say 3 stages, 3 levels or 3 stages. In the stage 1 or the level 1, S1, we take the 6 tablets. So when we do the complete dissolution study, now each unit here refers to the each tablet. Each tablet should not have, as compared to the official pharmacopoeia, it should not have the total amount of the drug in the solution which is being expected plus 5%. So amount of the drug dissolved plus 5%. So it should not be less than that amount. If any of the single tablet is having the labeled drug percentages less than Q plus 5%, then you need to go ahead for the stage 2. One thing I would like to mention over here is that if all the units have Q plus 5%, the test passes at that stage only. You need not to conduct the S2 level or the stage. But in case any unit fails to be less than Q plus 5%, in that case you need to go ahead for the stage 2. In stage 2, again you take next 6 tablets. Now here you have to calculate in terms of the stage 1, S1 plus S2. So the total average unit should be either equal to or greater than Q. Q is the amount of the dissolved active ingredient, and no unit should be less than Q minus 15%. So if the tablet is having, all the tablets, 12 tablets have the dissolved active ingredient labeled drug content greater than Q, that means it is passing the test. If no unit should be permitted less than q minus 15%. In case there is any unit which is having less than q, you need to go ahead for the third stage. Now what does this third stage say? How is it different? In this stage you don't have to take the 6 tablets. Now again you have to take 12 tablets. So already in the stage 1 and stage 2 you have taken the 12 tablets. Now again you take the 12 tablets, so it becomes 24 tablets. So all the S1 plus S2 plus S3, now you have 24 units. So the labeled drug content for these 24 units should be either equal to or greater than Q, and not more than 2 units are less than Q minus 15%, and no unit is less than Q minus 25%. So you find that 24 units are greater than Q, या तो वो Q से ज़्यादा हों सारी की सारी यूनिट्स, और नॉट मोर देन 2 आर लेस देन, अगर इफ इट इज लेस सो नॉट मोर देन 2, 2 से ज्यादा नहीं होनी चाहिए, दैट आर लेस देन Q minus 15%, एंड नो यूनिट इज लेस देन Q minus 25%. So if it is adhering to this acceptance criteria, your batch is passing the test for dissolution study. Now, this was for the Indian pharmacopoeia. Now, how it is different for the British pharmacopoeia? So, again the quantity of the Q, which is specified amount of the dissolved active substance, expressed as a percentage of the labeled content. The 5%, 15%, and the 25% values in the table are percentages of the labeled content. So that these values and Q are in the same. So again, you need to perform the test, and you will find that it is following the same Indian pharmacopoeia criteria. First, you take the 6 tablets. Each unit should not be less than Q plus 5%. Then again 6 tablets, average of the 12 units should be equal to or greater than Q, and no unit should be less than Q minus 15%. In the later stage S3, again in this case you will take the 12 units, and now it becomes total 24 units, so it should be greater than Q, and no more than 2 units should be less than Q minus 15%, no unit should be less than Q minus 25%. So it is the same criteria as followed for the Indian pharmacopoeia. Now, when we talk about the immediate release dosage form, the previous one we were discussing for the conventional release dosage form. Now, when we talk about the immediate release dosage forms, here we are talking in terms of the pooled sample. So, for the pooled sample, the acceptance criteria is little different. In the case of first 6 tablets, the average amount dissolved is not less than Q plus 10%. Please notice here that it is not Q plus 5%, is different for the pooled sample. Now the ranges allowed is more, so it is Q plus 10%. Then another 6 tablets, average amount S1 plus S2 is equal to or greater than Q plus 5%. So the standard has been elevated. So it was initially Q plus 10%, then Q plus 5%. And for again in the stage 3, again 12, and the pool sample, average amount dissolved is equal to or greater than the Q. So you have to memorize, you have to keep in mind, you have to consider these acceptance criteria, whether it is for the conventional release dosage form or immediate release dosage forms. Now this is for the extended release dosage forms, prolonged release dosage forms. In these levels, these are not stages, these are levels, level 1, 2, 3. Again, you are taking 6 tablets. So the first, in the first level, you have to see that no individual values lies outside each of the stated ranges, and no individual value is less than the stated amount at the final test. So whatever has been labeled, and no unit is less than that. It is not containing therapeutic ingredient dissolved not less than the specified amount. Then for the L2, again the average value of 12 units, L1 plus L2, lies within each of the stated ranges and is not less than the stated amount at the final test time, and none is more than 10% of the labeled content outside each of the stated ranges. So again level 3, you have to take the 12 units. Now the average of the L1 plus L2 plus S3 and lies within each of the stated ranges. So they have some acceptances provided, but you need to keep in mind for the conventional release dosage forms, for the immediate release dosage form, pooled samples, and for prolonged release dosage forms, the criteria are different. But generally for the uncoated immediate release dosage forms, the tests are very simple and the criteria is simple. As you move ahead for the modified release dosage form, the prolonged release, the criteria becomes more stringent and all the set of the conditions are different. So you can see the levels which have been specified for the prolonged release dosage forms complies with the Indian Pharmacopoeia for BP and USP as well. Now let us try to figure out the factors which actually influences our dissolution test results. The first factor is the physicochemical properties of the drugs. So whether the drug is existing in the polymorphic form, the particle size of the drug again plays a very important role. The larger the particle surface area, the higher is the dissolution. Then salt form. A salt form of a drug has higher aqueous solubility compared to its conjugated acids or bases, as well as a higher dissolution. Then hydrates versus anhydrous. The anhydrous form shows higher dissolution. All these characteristics we have studied in the pre-formulation study. Then second factors is related to the tablet manufacturing process. So the amount and the type of the binders can affect the hardness, disintegration and dissolution. So if the hardness is more, these disintegration would be less, dissolution will be less. If the hardness is less, you have, so it is vice versa, it is inversely proportional. Then the method of the granulation, granule size distribution can also affect the tablet dissolution. The concentration and the type of disintegrants used, the amount of the disintegrant used, and the method of their addition also influences the disintegration and the dissolution properties. So compression load can influence the density, porosity, hardness, disintegration and dissolution of the tablets. Next, we move on to the third factors, that are the factors related to the method of dissolution study. So the composition of the dissolution medium, pH, ionic strength and viscosity also influences the dissolution properties. Then type of the dissolution equipment, temperature, volume of the dissolution medium, intensity of the agitation, sink or non-sink conditions, solubility, sensitivity of the analytical method. All these factors basically influences the dissolution test results. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you like my video, please do like, share and subscribe to my channel Pharmacypedia for getting further updates. In case you have any doubt or query, please post your comments in the comment box. Thank you.